Money is one of life's most honest teachers. It listens quietly, but it always tells the truth. It reveals your habits, your fears, your self-control, and your vision. If you look closely, your bank statement isn't just a list of transactions, it's a report card on your philosophy. Most people don't have a money problem, they have a thinking problem. Because money, my friends, is obedient, it flows toward clarity, purpose, and order, and it runs away from confusion, emotion, and neglect. The art of wealth begins not in the wallet, but in the mind that commands it. You see, money isn't paper, and it isn't coins. It's a reflection of your philosophy, your discipline, and your decisions. The truth is, you don't work for money, you work for the person you become to attract money. Most people spend their whole lives chasing dollars, but never once stop to ask, what kind of person must I become so that money works for me, not against me? The real secret is this: wealth begins long before it appears in your bank account. It begins in your thinking. Change your philosophy, and the numbers will follow. Let me tell you something about money. It's a game, and like every game, there are rules. But here's the catch. Most people start playing before they ever learn how it works. They start moving pieces on the board without understanding the goal, the strategy, or even the penalties. And then they wonder why they keep losing. You see, money isn't mysterious. It's not reserved for the elite or the lucky. It's simple once you understand its principles, but it's cruel if you don't. Ignorance about money costs more than any education ever could, and yet it's the one subject most people never study. When I was a young man, I used to think that all I needed was a good job and a paycheck. I thought that if I just worked harder, everything else would fall into place. But one day my mentor asked me a question that changed my life. He said, "Have you ever studied money? Not just earned it, but studied it." And I had to admit, I hadn't. I was working hard, but I wasn't working smart. That was the day I realized effort without understanding is wasted motion. I was running in circles trying to win a game I didn't even know the rules to. Money follows order, not emotion. It flows to those who respect it, understand it, and treat it as a system, not a mystery. And just like any other skill, you can learn it. But most people treat money like the weather. They hope it'll be sunny, they pray it won't storm, but they never take the time to study the forecast. The rich, on the other hand, know exactly how the wind blows. They study earning, how to provide value. They study saving, how to keep what they earn. They study investing, how to make their money multiply. And they study compounding, how time turns small beginnings into great results. The reason so many people stay broke isn't because they lack opportunity. It's because they lack understanding. They spend before they earn. They buy before they plan. They work hard, but they never stop to ask, where is my money going? What does it do when it leaves my hands? If you don't track your money will track you right into debt, stress, and limitation. But the moment you start observing it, measuring it, and managing it, something changes. You begin to see patterns. You notice how emotions influence decisions. You realize that every dollar has a purpose. It's either working for you or working for someone else. So, if you want to master money, start by becoming a student of it. Read one book on personal finance every month. That's not a lot. One book could change the way you see wealth forever. Don't just learn what the rich buy, learn how they think. The poor ask, how can I afford this? The wealthy ask, how can I create this? That shift in mindset turns desire into creativity and creativity into income. For the next 30 days, I want you to track your financial habits, every expense, every purchase, every moment you handle money. Not to punish yourself, but to understand yourself. You'll begin to see your financial behavior for what it really is. a mirror of your values, habits, and priorities. Because until you understand what you're doing with money, you'll never understand what money's doing with you. Remember, mastery always begins with awareness. Learn the rules before you play the game, and once you know them, play to win, not just for income, but for independence. The rules never change, only your understanding does. And once you learn them, money stops being your problem, it becomes your partner. Money is one of life's greatest mirrors. It doesn't change you, it reveals you. It's a magnifier, not a transformer. If you're careless with $1, you'll be reckless with 1,000. If you're generous when you have a little, you'll be abundant when you have a lot. You see, money has no character of its own. It simply takes on the personality of the person who holds it. That's why some people use it to build hospitals, while others use it to buy trouble. It's not the money, it's the mind behind it. When I was a young man, I used to believe that more money would fix all my problems. I thought if I could just make a little more, I'd finally be organized, responsible, and disciplined. But here's what I discovered. Money doesn't fix your habits, it exposes them. If you can't manage the small amounts, you'll only multiply the chaos when the zeros increase. I learned that my problem wasn't my income, it was my philosophy. I was trying to grow my bank account without growing myself, and that's impossible. If you want more money, don't just ask for more income, ask for more wisdom, more discipline, more awareness. Because money doesn't respond to need, it responds to stewardship. The moment you begin treating every dollar as a tool, not a toy, everything changes. Money goes where it's respected. It flees from chaos, neglect, and emotional decisions. The rich don't just manage their money, they manage their emotions around money. They don't let guilt, fear, or impulse make decisions for them. One of the most powerful exercises you can do is to study your own money behavior. Take a journal and write down how you feel when you receive money. Excited? Relieved? Fearful? Then write how you feel when you spend it. Do you feel guilt, freedom, anxiety? Every emotion is a clue to your relationship with money. You see, you can't control what you don't understand. And if money triggers more stress than gratitude, it's not the money, it's the mindset. Start eliminating one wasteful habit that drains your income. It could be mindless subscriptions, impulse shopping, or constant dining out. You might think it's small, but every leak, no matter how tiny, sinks the ship eventually. Discipline in the small things builds confidence for the larger ones. When you decide where your money goes, you regain control over your future. The goal is to build a relationship with money rooted in discipline and gratitude, not guilt or stress. Be thankful for every dollar that passes through your hands. It's a seed. You can eat it or plant it. You can waste it or work it. And that choice determines the harvest of your life. So the next time you look at your bank account, don't just see numbers. See a reflection of your decisions, your habits, your patience, and your priorities. If you don't like what you see, don't curse the mirror, change the image. Work harder on yourself than you do on your money. Because once you become the kind of person who can handle wealth, wealth will find its way to you naturally. Money is not the master, it's the mirror. It will only show you who you already are. Money is a wonderful servant, but the moment it becomes your master, you lose your freedom. It's meant to work for you, not the other way around. Yet, for most people, the script is flipped. They wake up each morning not because they're inspired by purpose, but because they're driven by bills. They make decisions not out of vision, but out of pressure. You see, money is a tool, neutral, obedient, and efficient. But in the wrong hands, or guided by the wrong emotions, it can become a relentless master that dictates every move you make. When I was young, I used to believe that money had power. I thought it decided who succeeded and who didn't. But as I learned, money doesn't have power. It borrows power from you. It reflects the strength or weakness of your philosophy. When I was broke, it wasn't the money that was the problem. It was my lack of order, my lack of discipline, my lack of control. I used to think, if I could just make more, I'd be fine. But more money without more control only multiplies the mess. The truth is, you don't fix money problems with money. You fix them with systems and philosophy. The wealthy understand something that most people never do. Money must be managed automatically. It must be structured to serve your goals, not your impulses. They don't wake up every month wondering where their money went. They tell it exactly where to go. They pay themselves first, save consistently, invest automatically, and spend intentionally. This isn't about restriction, it's about direction. It's not about being cheap, it's about being in charge. When you tell your money what to do, you regain control of your future. Here's how you can start. Every time you earn money, pay yourself first. Before the bills, before the groceries, before the extras, set aside at least 10% of what you earn for your future self. That small act builds confidence and discipline. It reminds you that you're the master, not the servant. Automate it so you don't even have to think about it. Have a portion of your income go directly into savings or investments before it ever reaches your hands. What you don't see, you won't spend. And then every month sit down and review your finances, not emotionally, but intelligently. Ask yourself, is my money serving my plan or my impulses? Are you building toward financial independence or drifting toward financial exhaustion? See, it's not about how much you make, it's about how much you keep and how wisely you direct it. When you structure your finances around discipline, you turn chaos into clarity. Some people say money doesn't make you happy, and that's true. But it gives you options, and options are what lead to peace of mind. Money well managed creates space to think, to breathe, to create, to serve. But when money is in control, that space disappears. You live in reaction, not creation. So let money become your servant. Put it to work through systems that automate success, savings that build security, investments that build wealth, and budgets that build awareness. Treat every dollar as an employee and give it a job to do. Some dollars work for today, some work for tomorrow, and some work forever. But they should all be working for you. The moment you take charge of your money, it stops ruling your emotions. You sleep better, plan better, and live better. Because financial freedom isn't about having more, it's about mastering what you already have. Let your money serve your goals, not dictate them. When you do that, you'll find that real wealth isn't just measured in dollars, but in peace, purpose, and control. One of the biggest misconceptions about wealth is that it's about how much you make. It isn't. It's about how much you keep, how much you multiply, and how much you protect. You see, making money is just step one. It's only the beginning of the game. Real wealth begins when you learn how to direct money like a river, not a puddle. A puddle dries up. A river flows. It has direction, it has current, and it's always moving with purpose. Money, like water, becomes powerful only when it flows in the right direction. When I was young, I used to think that earning more money would automatically solve my problems. But every time I got a raise, the problems just got bigger. That's when my mentor told me something that stopped me in my tracks. He said, the key isn't in the amount, it's in the flow. And he was right. Because if money flows in and immediately flows out with no discipline, you're not managing wealth, you're managing wishes. The rich don't just earn, they design a financial ecosystem where every dollar has a destination and a duty. Think of your money as energy. If it's idle, it loses power. If it flows recklessly, it creates chaos. But if it's channeled with precision, it creates abundance. Most people don't need more income, they need more awareness. They don't track where their money comes from, where it goes, or what it's doing while it's out there in the world. And if you don't track your flow, you'll always be confused when the well runs dry. So start by creating a simple cash flow chart. Write down every stream of income, every expense, and every investment. Don't judge it, just observe it. The first step to control is clarity. You can't fix what you won't face. Once you see the flow, you'll begin to notice patterns. Maybe too much money flows toward consumption and too little toward creation. Maybe too much is spent on maintenance and not enough on multiplication. That awareness is the foundation of financial wisdom. Then, start directing at least 20% of all income into productive use, savings, investments, or personal development. If you don't put your money to work, someone else will. Every dollar should either buy freedom, create growth, or protect your future. The moment you start managing the flow with intention, your finances begin to stabilize and your confidence grows. Now, review this flow every quarter. Why? Because life changes, and so should your strategy. Your money should always move with purpose, not emotion. When you earn, decide where it goes before it even arrives. When you spend, make sure it serves your values. When you invest, ensure it builds your future. This isn't about restriction, it's about rhythm. Wealthy people live by rhythm, not reaction. And here's the beautiful thing about understanding the flow. Once you control it, you realize money is just a tool, a vehicle that amplifies your discipline and your vision. If the flow is clear, your mind is clear. If your money moves with order, your life follows the same path. So don't chase a bigger paycheck, chase a better flow. Don't just count your money, direct it. Don't just earn it, educate it. Money will follow the path of your wisdom. The more intentional you are about how it moves, the more it multiplies naturally. Remember, it's not about how much passes through your hands, but about how much remains, grows, and serves your future. When money flows with purpose, wealth follows effortlessly. Money is not just numbers, it's emotion disguised in arithmetic. It's not simply about logic, it's about psychology. Most people don't fail with money because they lack knowledge. They fail because they lack discipline. They let emotions make decisions that reason should have made. Fear, greed, envy, excitement, these are the silent thieves of wealth. The truth is, money itself is neutral. It doesn't care who holds it, but it has an uncanny way of revealing the emotional state of its owner. When I was young, I learned a hard truth. Emotion-driven decisions are expensive. I remember once making an impulsive purchase just because I wanted to feel successful. I didn't need it. It was ego disguised as reward. And you know what happened? The pleasure faded in a day, but the cost lingered for months. That's when I realized discipline weighs ounces, but regret weighs tons. Emotional spending feels light at the start, but it gets heavier every day afterward. You see, the marketplace runs on two major emotions, fear and greed. When fear dominates, people sell what they should hold. When greed takes over, they buy what they shouldn't touch. Both emotions destroy balance and clarity. The wealthy, however, learn to stay calm when everyone else is panicking. They think when others react. They pause when others rush, because emotion clouds vision, and vision is what guides wise financial choices. If you want to master money, start by mastering your emotions around it. The next time you're about to make a big purchase, wait 48 hours. Don't say no, just delay yes. That pause separates impulse from intention. In those 2 days, the emotional wave subsides and reason takes the stage. You'll be surprised how many must-haves turn into "I don't really need that" after a little time. Then, reflect on what triggers your financial decisions. Are you spending to escape stress? To impress others? To reward yourself for working hard? These emotional patterns shape your financial destiny more than your income ever will. Awareness is the first step toward mastery. Once you identify your triggers, you can build guardrails around them, automatic savings, budgets, or accountability partners who help you stay grounded. The goal isn't to become emotionless, it's to become emotionally intelligent. You can feel gratitude, generosity, and even joy about money without letting those emotions control you. The key is to make calm, logical financial decisions even in moments of pressure. The rich don't make perfect decisions, they make patient ones. They think long term, knowing that the calm mind always wins over the impulsive hand. One of the best practices I adopted was creating a simple decision process. Whenever I faced a financial choice, I asked 3 questions. Does this align with my goals? Does it build or break my future? And can I explain this decision calmly to someone I respect? If I couldn't, I waited. That small discipline protected me from countless emotional mistakes. Remember, wealth is built in logic but lost in emotion. When you manage your emotions, you manage your money. The emotional discipline you practice today becomes the financial peace you enjoy tomorrow. So don't let temporary feelings dictate permanent outcomes. Learn to pause, reflect, and decide with clarity. Money will always test your emotions before it rewards your logic. The people who stay calm when others panic, who think when others react, are the ones who build lasting wealth. Because at the end of the day, mastering money isn't about numbers, it's about mastering yourself. Wealth has a language of its own. And like any language, if you don't speak it, you'll always be left out of the conversation. You'll hear people talking about opportunity, but you won't understand what they mean. You'll see doors open, but you won't have the key to walk through. Money has rules, rhythms, and vocabulary. And until you learn how it communicates, you'll always be at its mercy instead of its command. I remember sitting in a meeting early in my career, surrounded by men and women who spoke a language I didn't yet understand. They talked about assets, liabilities, equity, returns, cash flow, leverage, and I sat there nodding politely while my mind spun in circles. I realized something that day. It wasn't intelligence I lacked, it was fluency. They weren't smarter than me, they were just speaking a dialect of discipline that I had never studied. From that moment, I made a promise to myself. I would learn the language of wealth, and here's what I discovered. When you start learning the words of money, you start changing your relationship with it. Words like budget, asset, compounding, cash flow, return on investment, they stop being intimidating and start becoming empowering. You stop guessing and start strategizing. You stop hoping and start planning. That's when everything begins to shift. Because the more you understand money, the less you fear it. The reason most people never build wealth isn't because they can't. It's because they never take the time to understand how money works. They spend years learning how to earn it, but almost no time learning how to keep, grow, and protect it. Imagine spending 40 years working for something you don't fully understand. That's the reality for most people. They trade their time for a currency they don't study and then wonder why it slips through their fingers. So here's what I suggest. Start small, but start today. Learn one new financial term every week. Study what equity means. Understand the difference between cash flow and profit. Learn how compound interest turns time into your greatest ally. Watch interviews or read books by investors and business thinkers. Don't just look at their success, listen to their vocabulary. The words they use reflect the mindset they live by. When you begin to speak that same language, you start to think on that same level. And don't learn in isolation, join conversations. Find online or local communities where people talk about money intelligently. Discuss ideas, not expenses. Ask questions without fear of judgment. The best way to learn a language is to immerse yourself in it. The more you speak it, the more natural it becomes. You see, wealth isn't a mystery, it's a conversation. And the people who thrive are simply those who've learned how to participate. Once you understand how money speaks, you'll see opportunity everywhere. The numbers will tell stories. Investments will make sense. Risks will become clearer. You'll stop making emotional choices and start making educated ones. Learning the language of wealth is one of the greatest investments you can ever make, because when you understand how money moves, you can guide it. When you know what it means, you can multiply it. The moment you stop fearing financial language and start studying it, you stop being an outsider looking in, you become a participant in the game. So, make it your mission to become fluent in wealth. Because once you speak its language, money no longer intimidates you, it begins to listen to you. Wealth isn't just about accumulating money, it's about cultivating understanding. And the most powerful way to deepen that understanding is to teach what you learn. I've always noticed a pattern in my life. The moments I tried to keep knowledge to myself, I felt stuck, stagnant, even insecure. But the moments I shared what I had learned, something remarkable happened. The lessons solidified in my mind, my perspective sharpened, and opportunities began to appear that I hadn't noticed before. Knowledge, when shared, doesn't diminish, it multiplies. Think about it. When you teach a concept to someone else, your mind organizes it in a way it never had to before. You must explain clearly, anticipate questions, and translate abstract ideas into practical steps. That's how true mastery develops. I remember early in my career, I was struggling to understand certain financial strategies. I decided to explain what I had learned to a young associate, not because I had the confidence, but because I wanted to see if I really understood it. The moment I spoke, everything clicked. Concepts that had seemed elusive became second nature. Teaching forced clarity and cemented understanding. But the impact doesn't stop with you. Every time you teach, you plant a seed in someone else's life. When you explain a principle about saving, investing, or multiplying income, you empower them to act differently. And as they grow, they often return lessons and insights that you hadn't considered. Wealth isn't just a personal journey, it's a network process. The more you contribute knowledge, the more ideas, opportunities, and connections flow back to you. Generosity in learning expands prosperity. Here's what I suggest. Choose one financial lesson each week and share it with a friend, family member, or mentee. Keep a money wisdom journal where you write what you learn and the insights you teach. It becomes a personal library you can revisit. Beyond sharing knowledge, consider giving a portion of your income, even 5%, to causes that align with your values. You'll be surprised how generosity creates momentum. The act of giving shifts your mindset from scarcity to abundance, opening doors you didn't even know existed. Teaching also builds accountability. When you commit to mentoring or sharing, your actions are under observation, not to shame you, but to reinforce discipline. You'll find yourself following the principles more rigorously because now someone else's learning depends on your example. So, don't just study wealth in isolation. Share it. Explain what you learn. Mentor others. Give generously, even in small ways. Each person you empower multiplies the impact of your own efforts. Knowledge, once shared, returns in ways money alone cannot. Wealth grows not only in your bank account, but in the lives you touch, in habits you influence, and in opportunities that multiply because of the seeds you plant. Teaching is the secret that turns personal wealth into lasting influence. Before any seed can grow, it must be protected. Wealth is no different. I've seen too many people get excited about earning, investing, or starting new ventures without first taking the necessary steps to safeguard what they already have. It's like planting a tree in a storm without staking it or watering it. It may sprout, but the first strong wind will topple it. The principle is simple. You cannot build lasting wealth without first creating a foundation that resists the unexpected. Protection begins with awareness. You must know exactly what you have, where it is, and how vulnerable it might be. Many people neglect this because it feels cautious or even boring compared to chasing new opportunities. But the truth is, unprotected money is temporary money. I've known friends who made thousands, even tens of thousands, in a single venture, only to lose it all because they didn't plan for accidents, emergencies, or market downturns. A sudden medical expense, a business interruption, or a major life event can wipe out months or years of hard work if you haven't prepared. The first step is an emergency fund. I recommend at least 6 months of living expenses stored safely, ready to cover unexpected events. This fund isn't for indulgence. It's your safety net, your cushion that allows you to take calculated risks with confidence. Next, consider insurance. Not as an expense, but as a tool for preservation. Health, property, income, and business insurance protect the flow of your life and your ventures. They ensure that a sudden setback doesn't derail everything you've worked for. Diversification is another crucial principle. No single account, investment, or asset should hold all your wealth. Think of it as planting multiple seeds in different soils. Some may fail, but others will thrive. Spread risk strategically across savings, investments, and income streams. This creates resilience and reduces the stress of unforeseen changes. Protecting wealth also requires discipline in everyday habits. Don't over-leverage or over-commit. Always maintain liquidity. Monitor your accounts regularly and stay informed about the risks that could affect your holdings. Planning, foresight, and consistent action are what transform wealth from fragile to enduring. I've experienced firsthand that the richest people I've known did not become wealthy by chance. They built their security first. They protected what they had so that new opportunities could grow safely and sustainably. Remember, growth without protection is fragile, and wealth without security is fleeting. Guard your money, defend your assets, and create a strong foundation. Only then can your financial tree withstand storms and reach its full height. Protect the seed before you expect the harvest. Every dollar you earn has the potential to either serve you or enslave you. I've watched people work tirelessly for decades, only to see their money vanish because they spent it as fast as it came in. The secret lies not in how much you earn, but in what you do with it. Wealth is not built by income alone. It is built by converting earnings into assets that work for you producing more money while you sleep. This is the principle that separates those who stay paycheck to paycheck from those who achieve lasting financial freedom. It begins with mindset. You must see each paycheck as a tool, not a reward. Every dollar should have a purpose beyond immediate satisfaction. The first step I recommend is allocating a fixed percentage, at least 15%, toward investments or assets before touching the rest. Treat this allocation like a bill you must pay. It's your future, and it deserves first priority. I remember when I started doing this with my modest earnings, even small, consistent amounts began compounding in ways I couldn't have imagined at the time. Next, focus on the type of assets you acquire. Avoid liabilities that drain money, luxury cars, oversized homes, or unnecessary gadgets. Instead, buy things that generate cash flow or appreciate over time. Rental properties, dividend-paying stocks, small businesses, or even intellectual property can serve as active contributors to your wealth. The key is to ensure that each purchase either increases in value or produces a regular income stream. I once mentored a young entrepreneur who reinvested a portion of his earnings into a small vending machine business. Within months, the machines generated steady revenue, and he used those profits to fund larger ventures. Reinvestment is the third critical habit. When your assets generate income, resist the temptation to spend it all. Reinvest a portion to multiply your holdings. Wealth compounds when earnings feed back into productive channels rather than fleeting pleasures. I've always maintained a rule for myself. Any profit not required for living expenses goes back into the system. It may feel slow at first, but the long-term impact is extraordinary. Ultimately, converting earnings into assets requires discipline, foresight, and patience. It is a commitment to delayed gratification, knowing that each dollar invested today multiplies into greater financial freedom tomorrow. The richer I became, the more I realized that real wealth is built, not won. It grows from intention, consistency, and smart choices. Remember, don't simply earn, transform your income into enduring assets. This is how money begins to work for you instead of you working for money. Debt is one of the most misunderstood tools in wealth building. Too many people fear it entirely, while others treat it carelessly, using it to finance lifestyles they cannot sustain. The truth is, debt is neutral. It is neither good nor bad. It is simply a lever. It can lift you to new heights or pull you under, depending entirely on how you choose to use it. Understanding this distinction is the key to transforming borrowed money from a chain into a stepping stone. The first principle is clarity. Separate productive debt from consumer debt. Productive debt is any borrowing that generates value, income, or appreciation. This might be a loan for real estate, a business expansion, or education that enhances your skills and earning power. Consumer debt, on the other hand, buys things that depreciate or drain your resources, luxury cars, vacations, or designer goods that vanish in value the moment you walk out the door. The wealthy focus only on productive debt. They don't avoid borrowing, they control it. I remember when I first leveraged a small loan to purchase a property. At the time, my personal savings weren't enough, but the property produced rental income that exceeded the loan payments. That single strategic borrowing became a foundation for additional investments. The key was having a clear plan. Every borrowed dollar had a purpose, a projected return, and a disciplined repayment schedule. Without a plan, even the best intentions lead to financial stress. Another critical habit is to pay off high-interest loans first. Not all debt is created equal. Credit cards, payday loans, or other high-cost borrowing act as anchors, slowing your progress. Freeing yourself from these obligations first creates momentum. Once high-interest liabilities are cleared, you can redirect repayments into productive ventures, reinvesting the money to multiply your wealth. Finally, never borrow to impress others. Wealth built to show off is temporary. Wealth built with strategy is enduring. Borrow with intention, not emotion. Before taking any loan, ask yourself, will this move me closer to my long-term financial goals, or will it only satisfy temporary desires? Borrow only to progress, never to consume. When used wisely, debt becomes a powerful lever that amplifies your growth. It is not your enemy, but it demands respect, planning, and discipline. Understand the rules, distinguish between productive and destructive borrowing, and let every loan serve a higher purpose. Debt should lift you toward freedom, not chain you to regret. Let me share something that many people overlook. Money is energy, and like any energy, it must flow. If you hoard it, it stagnates. If you spend it recklessly, it escapes. The real secret to wealth is learning to let money flow through you, not just to you. The more you allow it to circulate with purpose, the more abundance returns. Generosity is not just a moral choice, it is a financial principle. Those who give wisely often receive far more in return than they initially invested. The first step is to make giving a regular part of your financial life. This could be tithing, donating a fixed percentage of your income, or contributing to causes that align with your values. When you commit to giving consistently, you train your mind to see money as a tool, not an obsession. I remember early in my career, I started setting aside a small portion of my income each month to support a local scholarship fund. At first, it felt like a sacrifice, but over time, it reshaped my mindset. Money stopped being a source of fear and started being a channel for influence and growth. Opportunities seemed to appear in places I hadn't expected because I had aligned my resources with purpose. Generosity extends beyond cash. Your time, energy, and knowledge are also assets. Share your expertise freely. Teach someone a skill you've mastered. Mentor a young professional, or even advise a friend on managing their finances. This doesn't reduce your own wealth, it multiplies it. When I took time each week to mentor others in business principles, I found that the process sharpened my own understanding and opened doors to collaborations I wouldn't have imagined. Knowledge, like money, grows when it flows. Finally, giving teaches humility and gratitude. It reminds you that wealth is not merely a measure of what you have, but of what you can create for others. It turns accumulation into contribution. The wealthy understand that financial freedom isn't just about having more, it's about enabling more impact, more opportunities, more legacy. So, let money move through you with intention. Give, invest, teach, and support. When you do, abundance doesn't just touch your life, it multiplies in ways you cannot predict. Wealth flows to those who know how to channel it wisely, and in doing so, it becomes more than money. It becomes a force for growth, influence, and purpose. Let me take you on this journey. Understanding money is not just about counting dollars or chasing quick wins. One of the most overlooked truths is that money moves in cycles, much like the seasons we live through. There is a rhythm to financial life, periods of growth, abundance, and opportunity, and times of restraint, challenge, and scarcity. If you fail to recognize these cycles, you find yourself constantly reacting, always behind, and struggling to keep up. But if you can anticipate the seasons of money, you can position yourself to thrive when others stumble. I learned this the hard way early in my career, back when I was just starting to understand how money works. I chased every opportunity without thought of timing. And often I found myself overextended in periods that demanded patience. Then I realized there is a pattern, a predictable flow, and it's not random. The rich see opportunity in every cycle because they prepare. Think about it. In a season of abundance, when cash flow is strong and income is plentiful, most people celebrate with impulsive spending. They buy cars, gadgets, vacations, and all the things that bring temporary pleasure but no lasting value. That is the winter of their wealth, a season of cold regret. But the disciplined see spring in the midst of abundance. They save aggressively, invest strategically, and position themselves for the next season. I remember a time when my first business was thriving. Instead of spending the profits on immediate gratification, I funneled much of it into assets, knowledge, and opportunities that would grow long after the excitement of that year faded. The rewards came not instantly, but steadily, and that preparation insulated me when lean times arrived. Then comes scarcity, when opportunities feel scarce, markets tighten, or your personal income dips. Most people panic. They cut back, sell assets, and react emotionally. But if you've prepared, you see a chance to acquire undervalued assets, to negotiate better deals, to plant seeds for the next cycle of growth. I once witnessed a colleague panic during a market downturn, selling off valuable holdings to cover short-term expenses. Meanwhile, those who had planned strategically were quietly acquiring, positioning themselves to reap enormous rewards when the cycle turned again. The secret lies in anticipation and liquidity. Keep cash on hand during good times so you can act decisively when opportunities appear. Cultivate patience during slow seasons, knowing that these moments are temporary but rich with lessons. Observe markets, industries, and trends. Notice where money flows and where it retreats. The rich don't try to control every wave, but they understand the tides. They prepare in abundance, act wisely in scarcity, and ride the seasons with vision, not fear. So, I challenge you to map the seasons of your financial life. Recognize the springs, summers, autumns, and winters of your money. Save more in the harvest, remain calm in the lean, and always keep your eyes open for the next opportunity. Seasons will come and go, but preparation ensures your prosperity is perennial. The wisdom of money is found not in chasing it blindly, but in learning the cycles and letting every season work for you, not against you. Imagine this. Every dollar you earn is not just a number on a screen or a coin in your pocket. It's a soldier ready to work for you. Yet most people treat money like a guest at a party. They let it sit idly, they spend it carelessly, and they never assign it a purpose. The truth is, if you want wealth to grow, every dollar must have a mission. It must either earn, protect, grow, or serve. When you give it a clear role, it stops being a passive number and becomes an active force, working day and night to build your freedom. I remember early in my life, when I first began to track my income, I realized that most of my dollars were idle, sitting in a checking account, slowly losing purchasing power. That insight changed everything. I began giving each dollar a specific assignment. Some went into savings, some into investments, and some were reinvested into skills that would produce even more income. The philosophy is simple but profound. Don't let money drift without direction. Idle dollars invite trouble, impulsive spending, wasted opportunities, and financial stagnation. But when every dollar has a mission, it becomes disciplined. You begin to see patterns of growth, understand cash flow, and create leverage that compounds over time. Think of it like an army. You don't send soldiers into battle without orders, and you don't let money sit in your account without purpose. I even remember allocating my first small investment entirely with this mindset. I treated it as a soldier I was sending out to conquer. It had a clear objective, a strategy, and a measure of success. Over time, the returns multiplied, not because of luck, but because my money was working intentionally. Practical application is crucial. Start by tracking every dollar each month. Know exactly where it goes and why. Identify idle money sitting in non-earning accounts and put it to work into investments, skill building, or assets that generate income. And never stop reinvesting profits. Treat profits not as rewards to celebrate immediately, but as reinforcements for your growing army of dollars. When you do this consistently, your financial system begins to operate automatically. Your money earns, multiplies, and protects your freedom while you focus on bigger goals. The mindset transforms your relationship with money. You stop being a passive observer and become the commander of your financial destiny. Each dollar serves you, and you, in turn, honor it with purpose, strategy, and discipline. Wealth is not a matter of chance. It is a result of the careful deployment of your dollars into meaningful work. So, begin today. Assign every dollar a mission, watch it serve, protect, grow, and reproduce, and notice how your financial life transforms. Think for a moment about how most people treat money. They spend it first, and then wonder why it never seems to grow. They buy things to feel good, to impress, to satisfy a fleeting desire, and before long, the dollars are gone, leaving nothing but temporary pleasure and no lasting value. The truth is, wealth isn't built by consumption, it's built by investment. Every dollar you spend should either maintain your life or grow your life. If it does neither, you're spending wealth instead of creating it. I remember my early days when I would occasionally buy small luxuries thinking I deserved them. Each purchase felt good in the moment, but by the end of the month, my bank account reflected the reality. Joy fades quickly, but money wasted leaves consequences. That was when I learned a critical principle. Replace spending with investing. Investing doesn't have to mean stock markets or real estate alone. It can start with education, skills, and tools that increase your value. Every book you buy that teaches you something, every course you take that expands your skill set, every piece of equipment that allows you to produce or sell more, these are investments, not expenses. I started small. Instead of buying a new suit I didn't need, I bought a book on personal finance. Instead of upgrading my car prematurely, I put that money toward a course on sales and communication. Over time, these investments multiplied far beyond the cost of the things I had considered buying for instant gratification. The knowledge, skills, and tools created more income streams, more opportunities, and ultimately, more freedom. The strategy is simple but powerful. Before any purchase, ask, will this grow or shrink my wealth? If it doesn't contribute to growth, don't buy it. Delay gratification. Wealth requires patience. You'll notice that as you shift this mindset, small decisions compound into significant change. The dollars you once spent on fleeting pleasures now work to create more dollars. Tools become assets, knowledge becomes leverage, and self-discipline becomes a habit that transforms your financial trajectory. Practical application starts with awareness. Examine every expense for a month. Label it either consumption or investment. Commit to redirecting a portion of what you would normally spend toward assets that produce income or increase your value. It might be a book, a skill, or even a small piece of equipment to start a side venture. Over time, the habit of prioritizing investment over consumption creates a financial momentum that's unstoppable. Remember, the wealthy think differently. They buy things that buy things. Replace your spending with investing, and you train your money and yourself to work for long-term growth rather than fleeting pleasure. Start today and watch the seeds you plant multiply into freedom and wealth. Think about how many people define being rich. Most say, I'll be rich when I have $1 million, or I'll be rich when I drive a luxury car. But true wealth is never about numbers in a bank account or things you can touch. True wealth is freedom. It's the freedom to choose your time, to spend your days doing what matters, to make decisions without fear, and to live with peace and purpose. I've watched people with high incomes live like slaves to bills and obligations, while others with modest earnings enjoy lives of abundance simply because they had freedom over their choices. The philosophy is simple. Wealth is measured not by what you have, but by what you can afford to live without. If money rules your decisions, you are enslaved. If it serves your life, you are free. I learned this lesson early when I was focused solely on income. I thought more money would bring happiness, and for a while, it did, until bills, responsibilities, and pressures multiplied even faster. That's when I realized being rich is about designing a life where money works for you, not where you work for money. The richer you feel, the more control and choice you have. The strategy to achieve this mindset is to prioritize freedom over possessions. Start with a life plan before a financial plan. Decide what kind of life you want, the time with family, the projects that excite you, the health and energy you want to maintain, and then make financial decisions that support that vision. Money becomes a tool, not a goal. Review your life and income annually. Ask yourself honestly, are my earnings creating freedom or anxiety? If they're not giving you peace, adjust your spending, saving, and investing habits until they do. Practical steps start small. List the areas in your life where you feel trapped by money, a job, debt, or obligations. Then identify actions that increase choice in those areas. Automate savings to reduce stress, eliminate unnecessary expenses, or invest in passive income streams. Align every financial goal with your purpose and joy. For example, if you value time with family, invest in ways to free hours, not just increase cash flow. If health is important, invest in wellness, not gadgets. Wealth is a tool to live life on your terms. The rich don't just chase figures, they chase freedom, fulfillment, and peace of mind. When you redefine richness, you stop working for money and start having money work for you. When your earnings support choice instead of fear, possessions instead of purpose, your life transforms. The ultimate measure of wealth is not your bank account, but your freedom to live fully. Start thinking rich today and design a life that money serves, not confines. As we come to the close of this conversation, I want you to reflect on one simple truth. Wealth is not just money, it is freedom, choice, and purpose. Too many people spend their lives chasing numbers, luxuries, or the approval of others, thinking that will make them rich. But real richness begins when you align your money with your life, not your life with your money. It's about making your income a tool, not a master. Making your earnings work while you sleep, while you grow, while you live fully. The philosophy is clear. If you don't control your money, it will control you. But when you take charge, paying yourself first, investing wisely, managing cash flow, and redirecting spending into assets, you start building not just a bank account, but a life you can choose. Every dollar becomes a worker for your future. Every financial decision a seed for freedom. Remember, it's not about how much you earn, it's about how you direct what you earn. Now is the time to take action. Start by clarifying your life vision and letting that guide your financial choices. Automate your savings, invest in assets that generate cash flow, and protect your wealth before seeking more. Educate yourself daily. Read, listen, study, and apply. Share what you learn, because teaching reinforces mastery and creates a culture of abundance. Surround yourself with thinkers, doers, and people who elevate your mindset. Don't wait for the perfect moment, the big windfall, or a miracle. Wealth is built one decision, one habit, one investment at a time. Begin today. Take control of your financial destiny. Let money serve your dreams, not drain them. Plant seeds of discipline, generosity, and purpose, and water them consistently. Your journey to true wealth is not measured by numbers in a bank, but by the freedom, peace, and fulfillment you create along the way. Commit to thinking rich, acting wisely, and building a life where money works for you. The future you want is waiting. Take the steps now and let your financial choices reflect the life you were meant to live.